Hi friends, it's Victor Costa and welcome to the Daily Lift. I hope you're having an outstanding day. And I hope today's podcast makes it even better for you. The Daily Lift is a podcast that I created to help you get through the day, to lift you up, to empower you, and to make you feel that you are not alone. And to remind you that each and every one of us has challenges, but it is how we approach these challenges that makes us either overcome them or succumb to them. Today I was outside enjoying a nice morning with a beautiful cup of coffee, and I was telling a neighbor of mine a little bit about that I have been thinking about the past lately. And he shared with me his perspective on the past. And he used a few metaphors that may not make a lot of sense when I retell them to you. And if you Google the essence of this, you may find evidence to the contrary. But what's very interesting is how he lives his life in accordance to how he sees these metaphors and these facts. And that's what matters. So this gentleman was telling me he spends very little time looking back at the past. Very little time. And he went through an analogy about a tiger. And he was telling me that a tiger can run a certain amount of speed in kilometers. And oftentimes the prey that the tiger is after can actually run faster in terms of kilometers per hour. But what often happens is that the tiger always wins. The tiger always gets fed. And the reason that the tiger gets fed, in his mind and in his opinion and the way he tells this story in his mind, is that the prey stops to look back. And in spite of the fact that the prey can actually run faster and get away, it turns its head to look back to see where the threat is coming from, and that's when the tiger has the ability to keep up the momentum and pounces. Now, if you Google this, you may find that that is not true, that oftentimes the tiger comes away from a hunt fruitless, or you may find that a tiger can actually run faster than the prey. But that doesn't matter, because in his mind, that's what looking back does. Looking back allows you to stumble and to get caught by what's coming from behind. And his whole idea and his concept was to look ahead, to focus on now and to relish the now, because we have a certain amount of bandwidth, a certain amount of time, a certain amount of energy, to focus on what's going on right now and to plan and look ahead. And that story, whether or not you Google it to see what's right, you understand the essence of the story and how he sees his life. And this is what's most valuable. It's not the fact-checking, it's the intention. It's how we see where we're headed. Now, a couple of years ago, I was looking back quite a bit on I could have done this, I should have done this, thinking about my history, thinking about my past in terms of my upbringing and sort of getting in a rut, if you will. And my wife put something next to my bed that still stands today. It says, it's an arrow, and it says, don't look back. You're not going that way. And that is a little daily reminder. It's a tactile reminder of there is no use in looking back. And so if you're spending your time looking back and thinking about the past and things you could have and should have and would have and everything like that without just simply acknowledging it, without getting steeped in that time period, it can cripple you if you get stuck in that time, and it can keep you from moving forward, looking ahead, from enjoying the present moment. You have a certain amount of energy. You have a certain amount of attention. It's hard to think about three things simultaneously. It's hard to think about the past, present, and future all at the same time. Thinking about your past, and especially when I say thinking about the past, I'm not talking about the fond memories. I mean, I think that that is something that we probably don't do enough. The delight in what the good things that have happened to us. Maybe the fact that our life has been spared more than we can remember, just like in the poem that I wrote for my friend, and I'm happy to share that with you in another podcast. But you understand what I'm suggesting. It's that If you focus on what's in front of you and right here now, you can't give a lot of attention to the past. It's not possible to be in those two places simultaneously. And so that's what today's podcast is about. Today's podcast is about coming up with a metaphor for yourself, very much like my friend that I met on the street today has for himself. And to acknowledge that and to recognize that looking back oftentimes at the failures and getting stuck in that moment and that sense and bringing it all back so it comes in viscerally is a waste of time. And like I said, you have a certain amount of energy to deploy in your lifetime. Deploy it for enjoying the now moment, for looking ahead, for absorbing the present time that you're in right now and using that as a catapult to move forward. So that's what today's podcast is about. I hope you enjoyed today's podcast. I hope it brings you comfort. I hope you are able to focus on the now and look forward to the future. Wish you all the best and good health. Victor Costa signing off for the Daily Lift.